right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to session 2 of the Katase Red Door mini course. I am here today again. My name is Helmut, and I'm here again today with my friends Laura Keddy, and Kay Cadell Whitaker. And Laura Philpott has a bit of has some technical difficulties, so she hopefully is going to join us a little later. But we're going to get started. And today's subject that Kay is going to talk about is what are Red Door broadcast programs and rates, and why are the coherence programs so important? And before we have Kay start into it, the quick disclaimer: we do not provide medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. We share the approach of ancient Katase and pre-flood Egyptian mystery teachings to living a healthy, happy, passionately fulfilled life. All right, Kay.
Hello, everybody. It's really good to be here and know that all of you are out there. And let's get started with this incredible material. Yesterday, we introduced the bowl and what it does and the fields that it makes, and has all these spiraling energies and that are shooting along the lines of the geometry, and they're going in every which direction. Remember, things that are traveling geometrically out in the world around you. Every item, every piece of matter has energy, and its energy is moving, and it moves in the direction, the line of what that piece of material is goes in this direction. It's also going in the opposite direction. It's always going in two directions at once. And we need to kind of keep that in mind. It gets very complicated, multidimensional, and all magic-like and exciting, but we aren't going to go there today. That's a little too much. So let's pick up where we left off. And the bowl is empty. What do we do the first thing with an empty bowl? We've got to make a program. We gotta have the witness, the who to. Who is everything going to go to? Is it going to be you? Is it your friend, your client, your relatives? We have Laura. Hi, welcome. And we can broadcast to just about anything. You can broadcast to your garden, to your soil, to the water, water in your garden, water in your body, in the air itself, the air around the plants, the air around the people. It just goes on and on. And if you got bugs in the garden, you broadcast to the bugs. Please move along, go away, or if it's a bug you like, you want to bring it towards you. So with the bowl itself, the whole geometry, things are always going in, energy, information, they always travel together, energy and information in, and there's always something going out. There's energy that's going out into the space around you, and it goes out and out and out like 100 miles. It affects for quite a long distance. We talked about that. And it's going to your subject, your target. Always going in, always going out, 24 hours a day. And today we're going to be talking a bit more in depth about the rates, the frequencies, the materials, things that we are going to put into the bowl, physically put into the bowl to create a program, to create different energies that you want sent to your target. And we talked about, tablet is just getting small. This is the American style rate for the red door or for any kind of radionics machine. And the numbers and this configuration with the dash, that is created this way because of the dials on the electrical machine that was developed like 120, 130, 40 years ago. They were creating the rates. They were starting to build them way back then. And so all the rates that we have today started back then. Some of them are the really, really old ones are still there in the list. People still use them and they still work. This style, it's basically two digits. Like this one is 04. It doesn't have to, you don't have to say the 0, but on some machines they have a spot for you to add your 0 in there, just to make sure for the machine to know that that's the number that you want. There's the dash, and there's 2 more digits, and there could be a decimal point and 1 or 2 digits. So this is the form that is most common in America. And this is the other kind of form of a rate that you might see. This is British. And this is just one stream of numbers. It could be a single digit all the way up to like 10 digits. I've even seen a few machines that can accommodate like 12 digits. And that means there's 12 dials. So the first dial is turned to 7. And then the next dial is turned to 4. The next dial is turned to 0, and so on. And that's how the numbers are configured. That's how they're developed. And when somebody's developing these things, they're using their pendulum. Some machines require a pendulum, and the bowl obviously requires the pendulum. But on some of these other machines, they use a touch plate. And it's just a little sensitive, electronically hooked into the machine device, and you run your finger on it. And you don't put too much weight down on it, but you're just running the machine, the finger on the machine, that little box. And when you get a yes, the fingerprints on your finger swell up. Your body knows the answer. And with the pendulum, which you're going to probably hear again, your body's the one that knows the answer, and you're asking your body, what's the answer? Your body makes it happen. So with this touch plate, it swells up, and it sticks. It's called a stick plate. And it makes it hard to move your finger on this really very smooth, like glass smooth surface, because of this phenomena. So that's when the yes appears. That's how they make the numbers. And then they verify them with different methodologies. Some of them have been doctors with laboratories, and they verified their rates with experiments and other kinds of tests. And so they've been building them for years and years and years. And then we have a third kind of figure that we often see in the radionics books. This is a frequency, a pure frequency. And the Hz means hertz. This is 7.83. That's the Schumann resonance hertz. That's the dominant resonance that is coming up out of the earth. And You often see that pop up in radionics manuals. Well, the bowl is really, really nice because you could use anybody's rates. You don't have, if you're stuck with one of these machines, you can only use the rates for their machine. And then, and then that's it. Some of the more modern machines have a little well that you can drop in some numbers or words on a paper, and so you could try to get somebody else's rates or frequencies in that way. But the bowl really is the only thing that takes anybody's kind of rates or frequencies or configurations. And this, I can't see well whether you see it. This is a typical page out of my manual, and the manual just lists alphabetically within body parts and in diseases and all that kind of stuff. And there's thousands of rates. There's thousands of rates that have been developed. And this is just one random page. It has both British and American rates, and they're marked off there. So this is what you're going to be seeing and working with. And so for the kind of things that you want to put in the bowl to be broadcasting to your subject, it's going into the bowl physically, we call this a reagent. And this is reagent. This is the good guy, reagents. And technically, the bad guys are anti-reagents. And so these are words that you're going to be seeing in the different manuals and in the Coherence manual. The good guy reagent is something that you put into the bowl, like, here we have a vial, and it maybe is, it's got a liquid in it of something that you want to put in somebody's body, like they need electrolytes, or they need some pure magnesium, or whatever it might be, and you can put that right into the bowl, and you want it to be broadcasting into the subject, whether it's a number, an American number, a British number, it's a hertz, it's a written thing, whatever form it is, whether it's a reagent, this is going to be a particle, a piece of the material. You want it to soak into the body. So if it's a physical human body, it could be an animal body, it could be your garden, the plants, the soils. You need to be specific. If you're going to be broadcasting to your garden, you want to be specific about, do you need to really aim at the soil with this particular thing that you want to use? And then it goes into the soil, it goes into the plants, and it feeds both of them. Or is there something specific that you want to put right into that particular plant, but not the other plants? Then your witness has to be really specific. You can't just say garden. You don't want a picture of your whole garden in there. You need something to add to that picture, or instead of that picture. You need to have the exact species of plants that you're working with, that you want to be doing some kind of a healing broadcast on them, to put something into them that they don't have. So that is the reagent, the good guys. Now the bad guys, we talked a little bit about this yesterday. Bad guys could be something like the lead. You could see the little things in there. Those are little chunks of lead. And I want you to note these bottles are labeled, except for the one that I just made. It hasn't gotten a label on it yet. But I've made it like a religion to label the things. Because some of this stuff can kind of change or you forget what it is, um, especially if you have plant material. And you could be using plant material as a medicine to be broadcasting to people. When it gets in that jar and gets old and it starts to fall apart, it's really hard to tell what it is. And you've probably sealed the lid on really well. So it's going to be hard to get off and a longer, messier deal than you would hope. So label them. And periodically, you have to test these with your pendulum to see if they are still potent. Something like this lead, it does not lose its potency. It's from nature, it's pure lead, it's pure metal. It's going to be what it is, it's not degrading. But something like this is a jar of summer plants from last summer. Summer plants. I went out into the yard and I picked a little pinch of every single different type of plant I could find and put it in this jar. It was too much stuff to fit in the little vial, so I used the bigger vial. And this is something that you can use, like say you have a lot of allergies, don't know exactly what it is, or maybe you have a mix of allergies. You could go collect it outside and put it in the bowl and let it broadcast to you with that message of antidote, clear out. On some of these, don't see it there. Some of these programs that we're putting in the bowl, we want to mimic the original idea that the inventors of those electrical machines had in the first place, and that was to disappear the whatever it was that was bad, like in your body. You want to disappear it into subspace, into um, um, the place when things get completely energetically decomposed. That's where they go, subspace. Or you could call it the vacuum, or the quantum vacuum, or however you like to think about those kinds of things. When we're trying to get rid of something, we're trying to make it disappear. So you want to think of the wordings that you are putting in if you're going to write something down with all of this. And a lot of times you need some words to clarify for the bowl, for the universe, what you want the bowl to do. You have to be clear and as specific as you could be. Something like the allergies, like air quality. Everybody has an awful lot of air quality. And this is one of the things that I have found to be the most successful and useful for all the clients. And what this is rag. And this is a cut up washcloth, an old washcloth. And it was all washed and clean. And I've cut you can see I cut little pieces out of it. And they're big enough to fit in the bowls, in these little vials like this. Or in this little dish that I didn't have yesterday. That's that's a typical thing of what that looks like. And what you do with the cloth, you get it wet. Don't wring it out. Just get it wet. And you hold it outside, secure it with a safety pin or a clothespin or something, and let it blow in the wind. And it's got to be there for a couple of hours until it dries out and catches all the whatever junk is on that air. You might be trying to collect the local pollen that's driving you crazy, or you might be trying to collect the pollution or the chemtrails or a forest fire smoke, anything that's blowing around in the air. Maybe you live near factories or a power plant, and those things move in the air. Even radiation is moving in the air, and you can trap it on the rag and then stuff the rag in a nice little vial and label it. I only just did this, so it doesn't have a label on it yet. And put that in the bowl with your subject. And it starts to create the relief of the problem within minutes, literally minutes. Sometimes, to make it easy, I put them in a baggie so they're all collected together. These are different things from spring plants, different spring plants. And this is kind of how I store them. Every once in a while, if it's spring and somebody's going crazy with their allergies, you could put the whole baggie just right in without, you have to test everything first, and you'll be going through all the testing processes and the protocols, but this saves so much time. Amazing. And this is an example of the kind of little bitty bags that Ziploc. And you can put samples of things in bags like this. This sample happens, I don't know if you can see that because of the light glare, but that is a crown, a dental crown. And somebody needed to reverse all the sensitivities, allergies to the dental everything, the glue and the crown and all that stuff they do. You can use all that kind of stuff to reverse the problem and get it completely out of the body. So we have a lot of examples here. Here's a fun one. Hope we can recognize that. That is a cigarette butt with a little bit of its tobacco falling around. So it's limitless.
Honey, you can't move away from the mic and keep talking. They don't hear you.
Oh.
I thought I was muted, so sorry.
Sorry, people. Okay. This is another example. This one is ibuprofen, and I just stored this. This actually saves for a very, very long time, does not lose its potency. And you can put some pharmaceuticals, not all of them, but some, like this, if somebody has that need, like a pain reliever, and you only need one. And this is, where the dish or a little vial comes in really handy, and you could put in there for a little while they're needing the pain relief. And we also have rates. There's rates for everything. There's rates for pain relief. There's rates for body parts. There's rates for diseases, bacteria, funguses, viruses, parasites. There's rates for different kinds of injuries and um, everything that you could think of, all the body parts you could think of, there's rates for them. And let's move on to the next section. This is the other kind of thing that you could put into the bowl. Put into to broadcast. And this is what makes the bowl really, really unique. In some of these other modern electrical machines, you could put little bits of text, but not very much. And they work probably okay, sometimes not. They're just not set up to collect that kind of information and be able to broadcast it. But the bowl does really, really, really well. So this is what it looks like. This is my office copy. It's got its wrinkles in it already.
Just
And
for everybody, because it shows backwards on the screen. The title of that packages of programs is Creating Health and Peace with Coherence.
thank you. So we have one program per page. Some of them are very, very short, very, very simple, very concise. Others are really long. And they work because of what it is that they are broadcasting. They're broadcasting a kind of complex mixture of fields and frequencies and words. And the concept of wanting to make what's wrong in your body, if you're trying to get rid of what's wrong, you broadcast to that. That's how you make a scalar wave in the first place. You've got this disease, and you want to broadcast to the disease to make it go away. The way you do that is to broadcast its exact self coming in the perfectly opposite direction, and all the same frequencies. They come together, and that makes them just poof into subspace, disappear. They no longer have any matter, any form, any information. They're pure energy, and they just become part of subspace. Excuse me a second. See. So the way these programs are written, it creates a field that at the one end it is sending a soothing group of frequencies that are earth coherent. They're the frequencies that are coming from the earth, same kind of same the same vibration, the same frequencies. When we have a field, we're asking the field to be created with this earth frequencies and go into the subject, into the body, and heal it and make it coherent. Make it coherent with itself, with all the body parts, all kind of getting in tune with each other, literally like a symphony. They're like musical instruments. They're all tuning up, and they're all finally getting into the same frequencies and being able to sing in harmony together. And they're in coherence and harmony with the earth and the air and things that that nature has built around us. And so this is the first part of what is going on with the healing in the body and how that healing is happening. The other thing that you are asking to add to that field is the reverse of whatever disorder is there. You're asking for that reverse frequencies and patterns so that the bad thing will just disappear into subspace and be gone. And they work extremely well, and they work very fast. And I think if you go into wherever Laura have and Helmut have put some of these different videos of what we have worked on with people through the years, and how incredibly fast the healing happened. Now the first program that's in here is just pure coherence. It's very simple. It's one sentence, and it makes the body go completely coherent with the earth and coherent within itself. So all of the body is balancing out and harmonizing with the earth and with itself. And it has an incredible feeling to it. And when people try it for the first time, put it in their bowl. It's the only thing they got in the bowl. You can just really feel it. It's a beautiful feeling. If you do meditation, if you do ceremonies, this is a perfect thing to broadcast to yourself during the meditation, during your ceremonies, because it just puts you in total sync, total harmony, and it's very easy to get into a trance state from there. So we have this book is in different sections. It's around one of the sections is oxygen, one is water, and one is about electricity, and one is about environment, and the last one, not the last, but close, is the whole biosystem. Programs that are designed specifically for problems that that are really common to so many people in our modern culture. And some of the newest ones are the plant poisons, oxalate, and other plant poisons. And we don't think about that, but they're there, and plants can't help it. That's the only way they have to defend themselves. They can't get up and run away, so they make poisons, and a lot of them, and a lot of different ones. There isn't a plant on the planet that does not make poisons. And some of the things that we take for granted, they're so common in our modern world, our culture, like sugar. Sugar, that's a chemical that's made by the plants, and it is a toxin. It's a pretty strong and pretty deadly toxin. And they make these toxins to keep the bugs away, to keep the germs away, to keep animals and people away, so that we all don't eat the plants up. It's their defense. Caffeine. A lot of plants make caffeine, and It has a couple of good uses in the body, the effects that for some people it's a positive, but mostly it's a poison. And we're consuming huge amounts of it. So these the rates for the plant poisons work incredibly well. These poisons build up in the body. That's one of the nasty things about them is there are very few people who can really their bodies just naturally flush out a lot of these poisons automatically and they don't build up. But for most people, they build up. And as they build up, they're more poisonous. And that goes for anything, like mercury and lead and arsenic and all these other kind of things. We have long lists of these bad substances for humans to consume or our animals or the plants. And that's where the bull just shines with how incredibly fast it can take these things out of the body. Now, everybody's different, and the speed at which it's going to take things out for you is going to be different than the next person because their age is different, their history is different, their diets through their life have been different, their diseases that they've had, how compromised are they at the moment. And all these different things are going to be making a big difference as to how the bowl works, how well it works, how fast it works. It always works. But all the things that make a difference are how fast, uh, how well it creates these different fields and frequencies in your body, these healing effects and the disappearing effects. This can be slower for some people, faster for others, but it always works. So let's hear some questions.
I have one.
Okay.
Before we get to the rest of the questions, I am curious. What do you attribute what makes the why the coherence programs make the red door so much more effective, so much more quickly? What would you say is that?
I would say that because they are 100% specifically designed for the red door and how the red door works, the way it works, how it manages to integrate with people and your animals and plants, whatever you're broadcasting to. Um, it's made from sacred geometry, and we're made from sacred geometry as our whole bodies. Everything in nature that is not contaminated by man, hasn't been interrupted or altered around by people. If it's purely from nature, it contains sacred geometry. And these programs are designed to integrate into the sacred geometry and have that sacred geometry integrate into us and creating fields of vibration, of frequency and pattern, and different kinds of patterns. This could be how they're grouped together. It could be how they're broadcast to each other. One might be loud and the other might be soft, and they might rotate back and forth, sort of like you've turned the intensity down for one while you turn it up for the other, and then they go back the other way. And these are nature moves in cycles, and it's always everything's always in movement, and the frequencies are always in movement, the fields are always in movement, and how we interact with all of those fields, like with the Mother Earth and the energy she sends up, and the fields of energy that she's creating, and the whole universe is creating this great field that we're all part of, and that's what connects us. And with this great field, the bowl is connected too, and in the way that the field operates is the same way that the bowl operates. And they have the same harmonies and the same patterns. So the coherence programs are designed specifically to match these things. The very intricate quantum parts of creation. And we're all subject to that. We're part of that. These energies, frequencies, and fields, and the great field of everything throughout the universe, it's inside us. It's in the space inside us. It's in the space outside us. We're part of the field. The field is us. The field is the bowl. The field is your garden, is your neighbor, the person you're trying to heal. And it works with these ancient teachings of how we are all connected. We're so seriously connected and interacting. It's not just two things stuck together that are dormant. It's an interactive connection, and we have multiple connections to everything in the universe, and we're sharing information constantly, and it happens instantaneously. It doesn't have to travel through the electricity and the space and time. The electrical machines are dependent on their whole design is around matter and 3D time space, and the things have to go through space and time to get to and from, and they're trying to get around that to make a scalar wave to be able to have everything talk to each other instantaneously. But when you compare how that machine is operating and doing that thing, and how nature operates and does its thing with that, nature does it so much better. And in some ways, it's far simpler, and in other ways, when you look at it, it's incredibly complex. And the machine can't compare with that. So the more I have worked with the red door, the more I'm absolutely amazed by it. I just get blown away over and over. Just a few days ago, I made 4 new programs for the Coherence, and they're getting stronger and more specific about where the energy is coming from, and what kind of field is there, and how it is coming to match itself, and so we can make something disappear, or to be adding something into the body. And they work amazingly well. They're the best yet. And this is because we're doing it with words. And at least right now, in this time, and the knowledge we have, the frequencies and the rates and everything, which are made out of frequencies, they all work. They work, but they're very specific and they're very narrow. They're uh, nature doesn't work that way. Nature is sending complexes of information and different energies and different frequencies and different patterns. And it's taking the same complexity uh, of the bad guys away. And we can we can come much closer to matching that action of nature with the geometry of the bowl and the geometry and the processes and the frequencies that are in the text of the programs in the coherence. One of the programs that I had just made that I mentioned, one of the reasons I wanted to make it is because I was having that issue. I was having plant poison issues that were driving me crazy, oxalates especially. For anybody who has had to deal with detoxing of oxalates in any degree and realized what it was, it can express itself in so many different ways that are uncomfortable or painful or annoying or irritating and are also disruptive to body tissue, cause huge amounts of inflammation. They can cause itching and rashing and redness and soreness and eyes that blur up and swell up and you name it, digestive issues, wherever the oxalates get. And when there's enough of them and you're sensitive to that, it'll bite you. they're nasty. And so I was getting pretty tired of it. So I wanted to hurry up and make the program and get it in the bowl. And when I got it, it takes a long time to make some of these programs because I make a version, I test it out, and in a lot of different ways, and then I refine it and go through that over and over and over until it seems to be as good as I can get it, and put it in the bowl. And I hadn't even walked out of the room, and I could feel it. It's like, oh, that itching, oh, that pain. It's going away. It's just disappearing. And dramatically, dramatically. Now, again, I'm going to say everybody's different how they respond and how fast they respond and how quickly some of this relief comes. It always comes, but how fast, how strong it is, it's going to vary for each person. And even with you, uh, it might take a long time one time, but the next time you use the rate on yourself, it might happen like right away, or vice versa. It may have done it right away in the beginning, but the next time you used it, it was much slower. Well, all the conditions are different. Your body is different. Your body's responding different. And that goes for whoever it is that you've got in the bowl and whatever you're broadcasting. So, and another point that I wanted to make was the plants and soil, the the outside nature things, and animals. Sometimes babies, human babies, but animals and the plants, they respond so well, so fast, because they don't have our mental programming that's blocking us and our old ideas about, oh, I'm sick, this will never go away. And all those kind of thoughts. We block ourselves. We block the healing energy from being able to do the things it needs to do in the body. So got to get rid of that kind of thinking. As soon as that we can get that out, we the bowl, all the energies, the patterns, and the the healing magic from the bowl can reach you and get all the way inside and actually do all the actions that it needs to do. And it will, and it can do it fast. So now we can go to some questions.
Thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful. Um, that I love what you have created there with the coherence programs. Thank you so much, because that makes the red door so extraordinarily unique in this work. Okay, questions. We have a bunch of similar questions, and I'd like to kind of go through and present them, and then you can kind of talk almost about all of them. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And thanks, people, for going into the comments and saying hi. So glad you're here and joined us live and everything. And the first question is from Brigitte. And it's, if I want to address all the little spiders that live abundantly in my house, what exactly shall I write on my witness card? And then the next one, very similar, is from Belinda. How do I ask the squirrels in my area to please go live somewhere else and stop eating my vegetables and flowers? Thank you. And the third one along the same lines is from uh, Joanne. To protect from Lyme disease, can you use the bowl to remove ticks from your yard? Would you place a tick into the bowl, and could that be an anti-agent? Lorraine
Yes.
has a question about chelating heavy metals. I don't know if that fits in, so let's leave it at this for now.
Okay. I'll go for the pests, and especially whether they're in your house or they're in your garden or your whole yard, and whether they're ticks or they're spiders. Uh, the spiders are really, really, most of them are very good and helpful and beautiful creatures. So um, you don't want to harm them. You don't want to start a war with them. They're called the Amigas de Brujas, and that means the friends of the witches. And they're very psychic. They're incredibly psychic. And they know that you're coming. They know you're there. They hear your thoughts. They feel your field. They feel your thoughts. And they really understand. So I'm going to put out a little guardian word for the spiders. But you can get them to move away, so they're not doing something that is somehow in your way or somebody else's way or something like that. So goes for the bugs. This goes for the mice and the rodents and the squirrels and uh, all the
The
other yard
ticks.
animals, the ticks, lots of ticks. Um, and what other? We've got mosquitoes and no-see-ums and all of these different things. So whether they're in their house or whether they're in their garden, you pick the area. You could do both at once if you want, or you could just um, uh, go for your yard and put that in the bowl. And you do that by taking pictures, photographs, or of the whole yard, or you can go around and pick little bits of plants all around the yard and little bits of dirt, and you have some way in your language to define the yard. You might put the address in there, um, the land around your house, or uh, different kinds of words like that help define the area. The photographs work the best. That carries the most information and most energy to totally define the area. So you go around and make several different photographs from different directions, and you make a program that is in the form of a lot of the programs of the coherence, which start with "thank you," and you have to feel it. I know this might be a little hard when you start in the moment when you're looking at Lyme's disease tick or a black widow spider or something like that. But you have to be in that love field. You have to be in the friendship, the partnership, friendship, connectedness, and the love. And you say with honest feeling, gratitude, you say, thank you. Thank you for not being in my human nest, in my human yard, or in my human house. And they do respond to that word nest. They all know what a nest is. That's home, and that's somebody else's territory. So currently they're in your territory. They're in your nest. So you say, and you're picturing in your mind that they're gone. You're picturing them all clear. They're all gone away. They're not in the places they're not supposed to be. And you feel it. You see it in your mind and you feel it and you feel very grateful and you want to thank them. Thank you for staying out of my human nest. Part of that nest is the yard. You define it in whatever ways you need to fit your situation. And that's all you need. There are rates for most of these different critters. You could add the rates. If you manage to catch a tick or find a dead tick, or have taken a tick and you killed it as you took it off of your body or your dog's body or something, or the fleas or whatever the critter is, if you got trouble with the mice or the different rodents out there, or even the rabbits or the squirrels, if you could find their hole to their nest, there's going to be hair. Somewhere there's going to be little bits of their hair, or if it's an ant hill and you're after the ants, there's going to be some dead ants around there. You find the dead ones, find those body parts, find the hair, and put that in one of those little jars, because you want to keep it contained. Get the lid on it, hopefully label it, and put it in the bowl. That way you're talking to the whole species. You could talk to the whole species very easily because you have that member right there, and you say thank you with sincerity and gratitude from your heart, and thank you for not being in my nest. And that's all you need to do. It has worked for just about everything. There's only this one little micro species of ants that they stay out of the important places, but we we were cooking some meat and we had the blood drippings from the meat in this little bowl and they are splashed on the counter on this paper, and we didn't pick it up right away. It was in the summer. It was a mistake to not pick it up right away. These ants find things really fast. And here they were. They made a trail from the door that's just a couple of feet away and straight to the blood. They were carrying the blood off. And it's like their sacred duty to get as much of it as they can to clean up the space and get it out of there. And so as soon as they got as much blood as I would let them have, because I cleaned up the rest of it off the counter, they were finished. They all wrapped up their business, and they disappeared. They were gone. And most of the time, they don't come in the house, and they're not in the yard, in the places we would want to be, the humans want to sit and be in the sun and that kind of thing. They've stayed away from that more than out in the wild of the yard. That's where they live out there. And they work. That works really good. So next.
Okay, last question. Laura, you want to take that? This is from Laureen. We are at the hour, but just one question we don't want to skip. So there we go.
Sure. Lorene asked, yes, I was going to ask about heavy metals. Can the bowl chelate heavy metals out of the body?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And I have... myself. Oops. I'm still trying to talk. I have these two examples that I have been showing. This is mercury from teeth. The dentist took them out of the teeth. And this one is lead. And I think this is a weight that they used to use on fishing lines, the lead. And I just put a bunch of them in here. You don't need this many. All you need is one. But I had a bunch of them, so I filled the jar up, and periodically I have more than one person that needs lead taken out of their body. And so I opened it up and put it in another jar so that I can spread them out and have multiple pieces of lead to use. But yes, lead and mercury and arsenic and all these other terrible poisons. We got lots of rates for them. And in different places, you might even be able to find a sample of them. I think sometimes for some people, the sample works better. This is the lead from my tooth that the dentist took out when I was having all the lead taken out of my body, out of my teeth, and trying to get it out of my body. So I used this specifically because the formulation for these amalgams varies. They have different metals in them, and some of them have a mixture. There's a little dash of lead or other kinds of metal poisonings in that mix, which it just seems crazy to me, but it's there. And so that's what I was specifically trying to get rid of, having that removed from the teeth. So this is the exact example out of my teeth that can find all of that all the way through the body. So I used a mixture of this and the rates. And yeah, it just takes it out. It just disappears. The bowl works much, much better, much faster, much more complete than the electrical machines. So I started off with electrical machines, and I started off with trying to get mercury out of my body. And it was, the electrical machine was so much slower, but you have many more options with the bowl, and it just works better, faster. So whatever you got, whatever kind of a test the doctor gave you to test for different kinds of metals, say those tests and hunt down the rates for them, hunt down maybe a sample if you can, or just use the words. Look it up in, Google it on the net and find a picture of it, a description of it. Use that. Use those words and broadcast those to you to get rid of. I hope that helps.
Okay, beautiful. Another beautiful session. Thank you so much. And thank you all for joining us again live today. So glad you're here. As I mentioned yesterday, we will talk more about how to get help with your red door work and how to jump in if you haven't gotten started yet on Saturday. In the meantime, if you want to get started sooner, contact Laura Keddy@gmail.com. And you can also go to the Red Door homepage. If I find it, I'll share it. There it is, catastrophereddoor.com. And you find the contact information there too, and a bunch of other information to get you started. All right. Thank you again so much. And the recording of this will be up very soon. And tomorrow, Laura is going to teach about the pendulums. Yay!
That's right. I love teaching about the pendulums.
Any other thoughts from you guys, Laura's?
Oh, this is great. I really want everybody to, we talk about the quantum sides of it and what it's doing and all the energy. But I just want to stress how easy it is to use. Like literally writing a message and dropping it in. It's fun as you get further in understanding what it's, how, the cool things that make it do what it does, but it's so easy to use. And the ease is, I have grandkids who won't swallow pills, won't take their, they need certain things, but, being the ease of putting something in the bowl instead of down the cat's throat with a piece of meat, there's just so much ease, so much powerful things that it can do to save lives, but there's ease with it. And so I just want to stress that. I know Laura Philpott will be talking more too about that on Saturday, but it's like it's a easeful, beautiful device to use.
And I absolutely love the unlimitedness of it.
Yeah.
You can explore so many things.
You can,
And right at
yeah,
your hand,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Just everything you could think of, emotions, psychological problems, physical problems, you name it. It's even neighbor problems. They don't have to be a gopher neighbor to to warrant a little note in the bowl.
I have done that.
All right, ladies. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Kay. Thank you, Laura's. And thanks, everybody, for joining again. And we hope to see you tomorrow for the pendulums. Yay. Have a beautiful day. Love you. Bye-bye.
Love you. Thank you all. Bye-bye.